So today I want to talk about some animes I think that are underrated and they deserve more attention. The animes I'm going to talk about in this video are rarely talked about and I want to shed some light on them. I will try my best to explain the animes in this video without spoiling anything. Starting off with the first anime, Id Invaded. If you like psychological animes that have to do with detectives and solving cases, I think you will like this anime. Id Invaded is an anime about a detective but with a twist. The thing about this anime is there's this thing called an ID well, right? Whoever sits in the ID well gets teleported to a different world and they become a great detective. In this case, the main character is Sakaido. Now, when Sakaido gets transported to a different world, there's this girl called Kairo. Kairo plays a big role in the series because she helps Sakaido solve all the cases, right? The thing is, every time Sakaido gets teleported to a different world, Kairo dies, right? And depending on how Kairo dies, that helps Sakaido get some clues on who the killer is, right? Now whenever Sakaido solves the case in the ID well, that helps the actual detectives in the real world find out who the real killer is. Yeah, that's the basics for this anime. I don't want to explain too much because the anime actually interesting and it has a good plot. The next anime I want to talk about is Summertime Rendering. Summertime Rendering takes place on Shinpei's home island. Shinpei returned to his home island because one of his friends from childhood died and he wanted to pay his respect to her. The original story was that she drowned whilst trying to save a little girl. But then Shinpei's best friend told him that it might have been somebody who killed Ushio, right? Later on in that episode, Shinpei and Mio decides to go into the mountains, right? And then both of them discovers a shadow. Shadows are creatures that takes people's identity, kills them and replaces them, right? Now before I continue, I'm just letting you know I'm going to spoil the first episode, so if you want to skip, you can skip now. The shadow Shinpei and Mio discovered is a shadow of Mio herself, right? And the shadow kills Mio, then she kills Shinpei. But the thing with Shinpei is, whenever he dies, he goes back in time. Now I'm not going to spoil anything after that, right? Basically, Shinpei and his friends have to work together so they could get rid of the shadows. I don't want to explain too much of the story because it's actually interesting and you'll have to watch it for yourself. The next two animes I want to talk about is Heavenly Delusion and Keinen. Now the reason I didn't talk about Heavenly Delusion earlier is because I feel like if I explain the series, I will spoil almost the whole story. All I have to say about Heavenly Delusion is in the beginning it's confusing, but it will explain itself in the end. Just give the series a chance. Trust me when I tell you, just give the series a chance, you might like it. Now, Keinen is an anime that is underrated when it comes to action. If you like Black Lagoon, you might like Keinen. The thing about Keinen I like is the fight scenes, right? Keinen vs Alfred is like Revi versus the Terminator mid. Even though I prefer Black Lagoon over Keinen, I think Keinen did a good job when it comes to the action scenes. Now when it comes to the plot in Keinen, I find they could have worked on the plot a little more and they could have made the series a little longer. Now let me explain the story of Keinen for you. Basically the government used to experiment on third world countries, right? And Keinen ended up being one of those experiments and she got superpowers from that. The superpower she got was that she could see colors around people, right? And the colors would help her determine if somebody was an ally or an enemy. Anyways, back to the experiments on the third world countries, right? Somehow America was involved in that, right? So the president of the United States had to go to China to discuss the problem with some terrorists. But that was a trap set up by Alfred. Alfred infected the president with the virus. And she made the US government believe that she killed the doctor that had the antidote, right? But that was a lie. America couldn't rescue their president without the antidote, so America decided that they would bomb China. Keinen ended up using her powers to redirect the bomb in a different location because the place America wanted to bomb, Keinen was also in that location. But that's the way I could have described the story for Keinen to make it sound interesting. The story actually good, but I feel like they could have done a better job with some things. When it comes to Keinen, it's definitely underrated in the action genre. Anyways, that's all I have to say about Keinen. And now for the anime I think that is very underrated, Golden Kamuy.
Here we go! Ready? And... Hey!
Golden Kamuy is one of those animes that is rarely talked about and I think it deserves more attention. Golden Kamuy is about Sugimoto and a Sherpa. Sugimoto is a soldier that fought in the war, and before his best friend died, he made a promise to him. The promise was that Sugimoto would find the goal and help his best friend's wife who was sick. After the war, Sugimoto meets up with a Sherpa. A Sherpa is an Ainu. Apparently, a Sherpa's father stole all the gold from the Ainu and he hid it somewhere. And the key to finding the gold is a Sherpa and the prison tattoos. Basically, there are prisoners with tattoos on their back, and when you put all the tattoos together, you'll get a map. Anyways, a Sherpa and Sugimoto have to work together along with some allies they found along the way so they can find the goal. That's the basics for the anime. The reason I said Golden Kamuy is an underrated anime is for 3 reasons. 1. The anime has a good story. 2. The anime is very funny. Trust me, you will enjoy this anime. 3. The anime has well written characters. Golden Kamuy is an anime that took me by surprise. I didn't expect to enjoy it so much. Golden Kamuy is an anime I would recommend to anybody, whether they're new to anime or a long-time anime fan. It's just a good anime in my opinion, and I think you should check it out. But anyways, that's just my list of underrated animes you should give a try.